preparation for pirouettes. Sounds scary, it's not. We can use this exercise just to work on some balance and some posture. You do not ever have to turn if you do not want to. Equally, when we're doing this at home, not the best place to be spinning around our living rooms on uneven floors, carpet. It's not going to work. But we can just work on the preparation for it and build up to it and take it as far as you wish to and as slowly as you wish to. There is absolutely no rush with any of these movements. I'm going to do several variations and you stop and carry on with what you're happy with at any point, okay? I'm just trying to put everything into one video. Okay, so there's absolutely no rush to build up to those double turns. I'm not even going to build up to single turns today, I'm just going to stick with quarters and halves. But first up is learning the preparation, where the feet should be going. In another video, I've worked on the port de bras for the arms. So if you haven't watched that, I recommend going and doing that first so that you can get the hang of what the arm's doing separately. And then we can concentrate on the feet. And hopefully the muscle memory will be there in the arms, so you haven't got to worry about those. But coordinating the arms and the feet is quite important. So I'm going to start in a third position, just natural, nothing forced. I'm just going to talk you through what the feet are doing. For the moment, just keep the hands out of the way. This is a test of balance a little bit. So if our posture is correct, we're engaging those abdominals, tailbone down to the floor, so we've got that pelvis in the right alignment, then we can keep the ribs tucked away, we can keep the shoulders back. That balance should happen. So with the right foot in front to begin with, we're going to take a point to the side, tendu. We're going to close that foot back in where it came from, so it closes back in front as we plie. Notice with that movement of taking it out on straight legs, kind of just as an initial introduction, it might come from a plie, but as it comes in, I'm sliding that foot along the floor, squeezing down into that plie, keeping everything in the upper body switched on. Don't let this collapse. Keep this nice and lifted. From there, that same leg is then going to lift up into our pirouette position, and then it closes down behind. We've now got the other leg. I'm going to break that down a little bit more on this side. So stretch the front foot to the side, 1. We squeeze it into that plie, back where it came from on 2. Now as we pick this foot up, the back leg needs to stretch quickly so it can support us as we lift. In that lifted position, my hips stay level. My thigh is back, working that hip, pulling it back, knee to the side. You're aiming to have your little toe underneath your kneecap, but if it's a little bit lower, that is absolutely fine. It's just not what we call pirouette position, it's just a little bit lower. Pirouette position is underneath the knee. If you're not capable of taking it up that high yet, that's fine. Take it a little bit lower as long as we've got this hip working. Then we lower the foot at the back. We just place it down to change legs. So this exercise will travel you backwards slightly. So you may need to do a little bit of a shuffle forward in the middle, depending on your space. So be aware of what's behind you. Now we need to try and get the arms and the legs coordinating together. The head, for the moment, does nothing. Quite often with port de bras, we talk about taking the arm with the hand. For now, don't. Because taking the head too much can throw us off balance. So and that's what this exercise is all about. So if we keep the head nice and still, looking straight ahead, find a focus. Slightly above your eye line helps with the balance. Okay, so keep that focus with the eyes. Obviously, if you're watching me, that's a bit tricky. So try and get the hang of what we're doing first, then focus the eyes, rather than taking them down or following the hand. So now let's put it together, arms and legs at the same time. Arms prepare to first, okay, on their own, so from the introduction, and 8. We open arms to second as the leg extends to second. Front foot, remember? Same arm as leg, comes in front. So this arm and this leg are very coordinated. This arm sweeps across. My weight is back in the middle now because I've brought that foot back in. As I lift the leg up, this other arm comes into my first position and I lower down behind. You can then stretch with a little demi-bras. That little extra with the arms isn't necessary. You can take them straight back out together. Okay, it's more of a style thing, I guess. Now we have the other leg in front to go the other way. Arm and leg to second together. Same arm as leg cuts in front, they coordinate. We lift it up, other arm comes in, lower down behind, and stretch. Okay, that is as much as we need to start with. Or you can just do the arms on their own, or just the feet on their own. But it is a coordinated movement, so try and put them together as soon as you can. It will help you. Using the arms will help you get the hang of the feet and the legs. A couple of things, little tips that will help. Keep the arms low. When we take these arms up high, that's when we're tempted to push those shoulders back. So keep the arms down, helps keep our shoulders forward, and that keeps our weight forward over the balls of our feet. Same thing when you lift the leg. Think about keeping it lower to keep these hips level. It's not about the height of the leg first, it's about keeping this pelvis stable and controlled. So if we're lifting a hip, we're going to go off, we're never going to balance. So keep that nice and controlled there. If you're feeling quite comfortable with this after a while, we are then going to add in a rise or a relevé, depending on the floor you're working with, the space you're working in. I would discourage relevés to begin with, because you may find it a little bit more temptation to slip because you're drawing that foot in underneath you, and I don't want anyone to have any injuries. A rise we can control a bit more easily. So a relevé is where we're pulling that foot in and there's just a lot more possibility of things going wrong when we're not in a studio environment. So I would stick to just taking a rise for now, preferably on balance, unlike me, and then we can control it a bit better and we're going to look after our bodies. But if you want to add that in, great. If not, please don't. Stick with just doing it on the flat. Then, if you feel like turning, I'm going to add in just a quarter of a turn. All I'm going to move to. So, nothing actually needs to change to do a quarter of a turn, apart from my eye line. All I'm going to do is, as I go to turn, I'm going to look. So I'm going to be turning that way, so I will turn my head just a split second before my body goes. Okay, it's not a great big turnaround and a big whip. Don't need to do that, I just need to move my eye line. I'd recommend doing this in a square scenario, so try and have yourself facing a wall, rather than sort of corner to corner. It makes it easier to find everything nice and square. So with a quarter of a circle, we prepare one, we squeeze in two, as we lift up I look, lower down behind. Now I've swapped legs, so I'm going to come back to the front now. One, squeeze in two, look, turn, lower behind. Okay, that's all there is to it. That takes you in both directions. Okay, so you don't need to then do it on the other side. It takes you in both directions. Same if and when we want to make it a half of a turn. Obviously, I don't know about you, but I can't look behind me. So my head's not going to go first. It's just going to slightly preempt my turn. So I'm going to move my head just slightly before my body. And coming back again, I'm going to look and then lower. And as you can hear, that's why great big turns at home don't really work. A half a turn is about as much as I'm going to take it. I've tried doing singles. I can kind of work it depending as long as I'm standing in my place. Doubles aren't happening on my living room floor, so please don't try it unless you're on a proper floor in a proper studio. For now. Not just that, there's a lot of walls in the way, so if we fall, we're much more likely to hurt ourselves. So please just be super, super careful. Okay. Hopefully that all makes a bit more sense. I'm going to do it with the music now, and I'm going to do it bit by bit. So I will do it on the flat, and I will do it with the rise, and I will do it with a quarter return. If you don't want to progress, stick with a simple one. The timing, the movements of the arm and the legs are exactly the same. So just only progress when you feel comfortable. Okay, you don't have to stick with me. All right, stick with what you're ready with. Okay, let's have a go with the music. Arms to first, on the flat first. Stretch, squeeze in front, and lift lower behind. Stretch, squeeze in front, and lift lower. Just be aware of what's behind you. Now I'm going to add in a rise. On the flat. Hips level. Focus that eye line. With a rise. Quarter turn if you wish. Shuffle forward when you need to. Stick with what you're comfortable with. Shoulders down.